The journey to the Ameritrans Cup is a tough one as two teams who were unable to pick up the W in the quarterfinals square off today. The Vanderbilt Commodores took the loss in a tight 4-3 matchup against the USF Bulls against the current CHS D2 MVP Grant Dietz and current head coach of the year Joe Rhodes, advancing into the semis, where Vanderbilt gets to play in the 7th place game against University of Miami Hurricanes, losing to Clemson last night in the nightcap in a heartbreaker 6-5 with only 33 seconds remaining in the game. These two get to square off one final time. For Vanderbilt, this will be it for the season. Miami have their eyes set for Jacksonville in the AAU Nationals, where they've already clinched a berth. We'll also see another consolation game between a pair of AAU participants as well, with the FAU Owls and the Tampa Spartans coming in right after the conclusion of Vandy versus Miami. The Miami Hurricanes and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Puck drop, and right after the national anthem. The journey for glory in College Hockey South comes through Coral Springs as the Florida Panthers IceDen will be the venue for the entirety of the CHS playoffs. Unfortunately, there are winners, there are losers, as both of these teams were unable to claim their victories in the opening round. Vanderbilt took a 4-3 loss against the USF Bulls with MVP Grant Dietz and head coach of the year Joe Rhodes at the helm, where the Bulls will go up against the Clemson Tigers, who won in heartbreaking fashion against the Miami Hurricanes in a 6-5 win over the Canes, with the final goal being clinched with 33 seconds to go off of a last-minute power play for the Tigers. Both of these teams look to continue momentum with Vanderbilt. The focus is on 2025-26. With Miami, they already have their ticket punched to Jacksonville as one of 8 teams in College Hockey South Division II to clinch a berth to Jacksonville. The other teams are USF and Middle Tennessee State, who we'll see later this afternoon, with FAU and Tampa playing in the next consolation game after this one. Starting goaltenders, Harlan Jackson will be the man in net for the Miami Hurricanes, while Kieran Parker starts in net for the Vanderbilt Commodores. As Vashish Mamohad Singh and Ryan Lee with you here in the booth, we thank you so much for joining us here in this early afternoon game as the Vanderbilt Commodores, they are coming off of their second consecutive loss. That's coming after a 7-0 shutout against Georgia Tech to conclude the season. And they also were able to barely hang on by the thread of their teeth to build the advantage against USF, but could not finish the job. Same with Miami. They also had a substantial lead against Clemson by a pair, and that one was also snuffed out as the game went on, as Vanderbilt plays this one all the way back. William Pha. Pha pings it off of the boards for Torinas, as Torinas works alongside Wyatt Keller, who will take the entry. Long-range shot was stopped by Kyle McGuire, as it's held on behind the net by Cowling. Cowling and McGuire scrap at the side of the net. Cowling continues the cycle, but Stone alone. 1 minute into the period already. We've already seen some of the heart is still there for both these two teams, and we already mentioned already how they're on very different trajectories in terms of where the future lies, but Vanderbilt will hang on with Eric Russenberger. An assist last night versus USF as Brandon Moore attempts to make the hit. Mensimer plays it around with Grady Abbin. Abbin slung it across, was looking for Moore, out of range. First icing against Miami, first whistle of the game, minute and a half in.
Fast tempo to start this game. It's cool, 74 degrees here in Coral Springs, Florida, about an hour drive away from South Beach, Miami, and a 34-minute drive from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a beautiful day for hockey, and it's going to be a long one today, games. We got a lot of games today, folks. We got Tampa playing FAU coming up after this game, so make sure to stay tuned.
Vanderbilt only one regulation win in their last 10 as the windup is kicked away by Jackson as Andrew Harder leaned in. An attempt to dislodge at the point. It is Jack Jusko who will do so. Jusko to center. Abbin. Loose, can't connect as Samsu gets it loose. A chance for Andrew Harder, who got a goal against the Bulls yesterday afternoon, as this one is sent back to center by the Miami Hurricanes. Brandon Moore speeds in as he works the corner. Moore looks in front, couldn't get the touch for Abbin as Kagan was subbing in so no one could cover the point. Vanderbilt is a team that, while they have threatened, have also struggled putting the biscuit in the basket with the second fewest goals in CHS D2. As Remy Kagan will start the breakout, Turlik at center. Turlik once more into the skates. Owen Gupta subs on as it's held on behind the net by Pha. Wind up, Remy Kagan wide. Owens on it again. He's hammered along the boards. He's got Kashikani behind, but instead goes away from the double team towards Gupta. Kashikani steps in. This is actually his third game of the weekend, with him playing the D3 game on Thursday and the D2 quarterfinal last night. And we'll see that from two of the defensemen from Miami, Kashikani and Chris Michelini. But a chance to enter as the shot flutters wide. by the Commodores. Miami want to escape, but holding in is Joseph Guy. Kagan around Jackson's net. Turlick. You just saw a swarm of black in his face, so just sends it down for Owens, who will beat the icing, can't handle, as he was disrupted by Dion Zaris. Harrison Parent gets in with a goal and assist yesterday afternoon, as Turlick wants to bank it for Estulin. Zudakis works behind center. Just under 4 minutes deep in the first. Jackson sticks it aside, Stone hangs. Back towards center, attempting to poke it up for Estulin was Turlick, but it's held in by the Commodore. Stone eventually reclaims. Stone and Zudakis, they've been the top pair for Tomamello pretty much the entire season through, as Fensterstock, they said it did not get a touch. Accurately so, as this will come back for icing against UM.
A little bit of a late call, if you ask me. Looking at that play right there, I'm looking at Elian Estulin, and you keep seeing him. He's trying to break out through the pack. He's trying to get free and look for that stretch pass to get the offense for UM going right now. As both teams, they're just kind of feeling each other out right now, trying to figure out where they can find open space in the ice to get some opportunities right now.
And I can't blame them for looking that way. Elian Estulin announced this morning, third team All-CHS, as the kick out by Jackson held in by the Commodores. Getting it free, Jared Fensterstock, Elian Estulin sprints in. Estulin stops on a dime, comes across, Ferry fires, missed the net. Second chance, loose, and also missed the net. Estulin was wide open, but couldn't poke it in. Stone across, McGuire substitutes. Estulin around the corner, Fensterstock. Fensterstock interrupts, it's back in front, wants Ferry. There's his office right there. That high slot area is Riker Ferry. Successfully got a goal and an assist behind Clemson last night, as the Commodores continue to pursue. Cole Miller in front, side of the net. Swipe there was by Torinas, who got a goal, was looking for goals in back-to-back. Torinas is in again, fanned on the shot. Second chance, Spinorama try. Harlan Jackson stays strong. Harlan Jackson was a third-team All-CHS D3 last season, but he's had struggles with consistency and also just not really being able to be in and out of the lineup consistently, so he hasn't gotten the same reps that Max Hoffman has had being the #1 starter, but Tomamello gives #1 the nod today.
Yeah, and in net for the Vanderbilt Commodores, we have Kieran Parker, who played last night against USF. As Ryan mentioned, they lost that game 4-3.
3-5-1-1 is Kieran Parker when he takes the net. Jackson rather, he is 1-4-1 in the regular season. But he was able to muster up a couple of wins at the very end of the season, going unbeaten in his last three. So those two sides of the coin of the season for Harlan Jackson, he really picked it up as of late, as the late whistle goes with the arms up by the officiating crew, slashing to start off the opening power play for 11 in the first.
Welcome to Coral Springs, Florida for the 2025 College Hockey South Tournament presented by Pick Suite. We are live from Rink 2 here in the Panthers IceDen for the 7th place game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Kennesaw State Owls. Hi everybody, my name is Devin Serra alongside Charlie Sarafian, and we're happy to do it with you for the first of 4 games today on our slate, but this one is the second and final for Alabama, third and final for Kennesaw State, as the Owls fell last night to North Division first team South Carolina. Alabama got routed against the #1 team in the South, Florida Atlantic. So, Charlie, some redemption for both sides. This is the final game of the year, nothing at stake. Just go out there and do the best you can. It should be an exciting one.
Absolutely. I'm expecting 110% effort from both these teams. Kennesaw State, I got to say, they surprised me last night. South Carolina is a very good hockey team, the best hockey team, if you will, on the College Hockey South. In Kennesaw State, they put on a show. As far as Alabama, they did get routed by the Florida Owls, sending them home a little early or sending them over to this consolation game, but should be a fun one.
Step aside for the national anthem. Starting netminders for both sides. First, the visitor side, Kennesaw State. They'll turn back to Connor Lackley, who has played in 3 straight in this tournament, 1-1 out of Peachtree, Georgia. Had a 4.22 goals against average, .863 in the regular season. Giacomo DeCola gets the start for the Alabama Crimson Tide in this one. He has just 1 start this season in net for the Frozen Tide against Louisiana State, in which he only allowed 1 goal, a .944 save percentage, 1.0 in the goals against department. And for both sides tonight, a couple of first team or second team honorees we'll get to in this game. But, you know, you look at how these teams came into this tournament. Alabama in a tough North Division did what they could throughout this year and had a tough go of it, but they have still a lot to play for with a young roster. Kennesaw State, if you're feeling like you want to come away with a winning record in this tournament, you take away the things you learned from South Carolina, which was, like you said, they can hang tough physically. They got to bring that same intensity you would think in this game.
You know, the Owls, they're a feisty team. They really try to control the game with their physicality, and I think that's really what you have to do in the College Hockey South.
As the puck is dropped, we are underway from Coral Springs for the 7th place game. The Kennesaw State Owls in white and black. Alabama in those all maroon, red, crimson rather uniforms, as the first shot of the game whistles past the right post from Christian Sousa, named all-conference first team this morning in College Hockey South Division III. The Noonan, Georgia native, the alternate captain, came into the tournament with points in 8 of his last 9, and he's had a pretty solid tournament on the blue line, as evident by his honors at the end of this season. This is carried by the Crimson Tide's Barrett Hutchinson, who has had an eventful tournament to say the least. 11 points in the regular season, but he was very active against FIU yesterday physically, and what was a frustrating outing for the Crimson Tide in their final winning bracket game. Of course, this one being the final for both sides, 2 North Division teams, the 4th seed and 5th seed, respectively. This is Kennesaw State in their own zone with the puck. Dylan Warmath, who had an assist on the goal yesterday. He dressed this year as a goaltender at one point, but has split time in the lineup as a defenseman. Long shot from the point, as getting barreled over was Warmath off of a hard-charging Yoa Tratar, one of the leading scorers for Alabama this season. Seymour knifes the puck out to the neutral zone, where it's sent back immediately by Essex Moser. To chase it, Hunter Cohen for the Tide plays at his own goal line in the trapezoid. Wanted to feed Andrew Geiselhart out of Huntsville, Alabama, too far away, as the Owls caught up at the half wall, then turned it over to Hunter Cohen. Seymour gets through the defense, onside, enters the zone with Lobdell, puts one towards it and scores! Max Seymour with a wrister from the slot, past the glove of Lackley, and it's 1-0 Tide.
You know, a rare mistake from Lackley. He's usually really keen and good with that glove, cat-like reflexes, if you will. But Seymour, he was able to just somehow slip that puck in there. And again, you see a rare mistake from Lackley very on in this hockey game. If you're Kennesaw State, you can't let those defensive breakdowns happen and allow Alabama to get down in the zone like that.
And yesterday, the big thing about him was he stopped all those first shots from South Carolina, but it was those rebounds he had trouble with, not getting help from his defense more times than not, leading to their 4-2 loss. So the Alabama Crimson Tide are underway on the scoreboard from Max Seymour. 16 goals in the regular season for a very productive player. As there's a delayed penalty coming up here, I thought there was. Never mind, it was offside. Just a big hit laid out at the Owls' blue line. Onside entering is Robert Schutt from the right wing in. He's cut off by Hutchinson. Forwarded ahead for Gabe Poland, up but not out of the zone. Kept in, but now Alvarez has to retreat. Sent back to the Tide's end of the ice by John Ronson as the Kennesaw State lines are changing. Here's Ryan Lobdell, the Budford, New Hampshire native. Tries to put it up the half boards. Plamondon comes in to help him out. Kennesaw State cut the angle off on this near side. Shot from Lobdell, easy save. Second try, Plamondon put it wide. Alabama, some fresh lines out there. First time Brendan Vatz, their captain, touches the ice in this game. Gezelhart sends it back as Joseph Alvarez goes to chase in his own zone. Bradley Burton is there, gets knocked over a moment, colliding with Jack McCormick. Having it behind that is Alvarez. Delayed penalty coming up here, and it is on Kennesaw State. And going to the box for them with a slash, Bradley Burton.
You know, that's something Kennesaw State struggled with last night against South Carolina. They found themselves in the penalty box way too many times. That led to way too many good opportunities for South Carolina to capitalize on power plays. And South Carolina, look, they're dangerous with 5 men out there on the ice. But if you're down a man to a healthy and fully ready to go South Carolina team, you might find yourself going down a goal.
Yeah, they gave South Carolina 7 opportunities on the man advantage, Charlie. And one of those was an unsportsmanlike conduct. They had just one power play in that game, but like you said, they were down a man a lot, prevented them from establishing any kind of forecheck for most of that contest. This one is offside, touched by Chris Scott. Face off back out to the neutral zone. Devin Serra and Charlie Sarafian with you for the 7th place game. We welcome you in from Georgia or Alabama in Tallahassee, wherever you are watching this one. This is College Hockey South playoffs presented by Pick Suite. North Division matchup. Kennesaw State has to dump and tried to chase it, but they retreated anyway. First time that, rather not the first time these teams have met since November 22nd when Kennesaw State won 3-1 over Alabama. It was their best win of the season, as Alabama at the time was ranked number 11 in the country, as that shot by Tritar at the point is knocked down by Owen Foster. Redirected shot, saved off the short side of Connor Lackley. Chris Scott is there to control. He'll gingerly skate out to the neutral zone, cuts back to the middle. Gulata defending him, gets back outside the defense. Now Gulata turned it over. He has it back where it's stolen away by Jaden Price. Price